We need to put our formal suits for this one. You don't see these often. Actually, most people will never be lucky enough to see them in person or trying them. One of the rarest and most high-end compressor ever built. Behold, Vacuvox U23 mastering version. Let's hear how it sounds. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixbusTv. Hope you're having a great day. Before we start, check the info box down below for my mixing courses on ProMix Academy and special discounts and offers on plugin. Now, if you want to become a MixbusTv member, support the channel and access to exclusive content like mix consultation, Pro Tools sessions and file to download and much more, click the join button down here and see all the perks of becoming a MixbusTv member. But let's get to the video. The Vacuvox U23-M is an all-tube compressor limiter with the highest quality components that you can possibly find, completely handmade and hand-built. The base for the design was the sought-after Rohde & Schwarz U23 broadcast limiter. It has an all-class A vacuum tube audio path and sidechain path based on the original circuit of the Rohde & Schwarz U23. For each unit, there are 4 custom transformers made of permalloy with 80% nickel and 20% iron content. And the mastering version uses 21 stepped switches for input, output, attack, release, and threshold. But we will hear all the nuances, the mild saturation and the character you can get out of these compressors, driving into the transformers, the tube circuit, the output. It's all about the gain staging with this unit, and we will see in the front panel all the different options you have to gain stage your signal going in. You can read all the tech spec. I will put the link down below. The 2 mono units are linked with their own link cable on the back, and here we have a remote switch for the bypass. Let's take a look at the front panel. From left to right, we have the first control gain switch with 3 positions, H, M, and L. L is unity gain, M will give you plus 6 dB, and H will give you plus 13 dB. We have a pad switch that lowers the signal by 10 dB before the input stage, and then the input knob with 20 steps, 1 dB per step. The gain stage comes after the input pad, the input and the input transformer. The M and H settings can be used with low input signal when tracking or mixing, or to create more tube saturation. We will see some suggested settings. Then we have the usual controls, threshold, ratio that goes from 1.5 to 9.1, attack that goes from 1 millisecond to 50, release 0.2 to 1.2, and output. All these are switches, of course, for both stereo use and perfect recall. And then we have a filter, a 60, one a 90, and a de-esser with the corner frequency centered around 6K. VU meter, and then the function switch, compressor limiter, amp, balancing A and B for balancing the push-pull stage, and then the link bypass. 1 unit can bypass both units, and as we said, we have a remote switch here to bypass them both. There are many automatic gain staging adjustments that take place inside the unit depending on what settings you use, especially when you start using the pad. If you use the threshold for the gain reduction or the input, where your gain switch is at, and the ratio that changes the curves. So many adjustments that happen inside the unit. So you see few controls, but this unit is capable of so many subtle changes in tone and saturation. Let's hear how it sounds. Because of the many options that are given to achieve a more or less transparent or saturated compression by using the pad, the input knob, the input switch, Barry the designer gave me 4 suggested settings: transformer, transparent tube, mild tube, and smiley tube. So first, for an easy comparison, I will use the same piece of music and run these 4 suggested settings, and then I will start playing with it. The first setting is called transformers. You can see the settings here, and we use input and pad to achieve compression. So the threshold is all the way at 10. We start with the compressor out and then we put it in. The first setting is called transformer. You can see the settings here, and with this one we use input and pad to achieve compression as opposed to the threshold. We start with the compressor off and then we put it in. second setting is called transparent, and we start with these settings with the threshold at 5. And we do the same thing. We use the input and pad to achieve the amount of compression that we want. We start with it out. The third setting is called mild tube. We go back with the threshold at 0. We put the gain knob at mid. Absolutely amazing, the subtle changes he has in tone and saturation, and the just overall high quality sound he has, the polish he has on the material. It's pretty impressive. These were the 4 suggested settings by Barry the designer to show you guys how you can change the input, the gain staging, and now I'm just gonna play with it a little bit rock and roll style and see what happens.
mine. It's my time. I am enough. I'm worthy of love. And now everything's fine. 'Cause all I need from you is a love like mine. It's my time. I am enough. I'm worthy of love. And now everything's fine. 'Cause all I need from you is a love like. It's my time. I am enough. I'm worthy of love. And now everything's fine. 'Cause all I need from you is a love like. Took it for granted, now there's nothing left here for you and I. Nothing, why do we even try? There's nothing left here. We lost our whole world in one night. Took it for granted, now there's nothing left here for you and I. Nothing, why do we even try? There's nothing left here. We lost our whole world in one night.
And this was the Vacuvox U23 Mastering Edition full tube compressor limiter, Class A, hand-built, handmade, one of the rarest compressors out there, one of the best sounding compressors out there. You heard the polish and the sheen it adds to the material. It does sound expensive. how extended and hi-fi the bandwidth remains even when you start compressing a lot. And it turns out to be very versatile as well. You heard me using it on loops, on hip-hop loops, how the low end gets super tight with this compressor. That was surprising. You heard it on vocal jets, classical tracks. The subtle changes when you start changing the gain staging, it's pretty interesting. It's definitely one of a kind. I barely used the threshold on this demo, and it's surprising. It's all about the gain staging, like I said before, and there is where all the sounds are. So it was pretty impressive, pretty interesting. I'm lucky enough to have 2 of these rare units here with me, so I wanted to share. And I hope this video was useful. I hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.